Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Moser here with Code Red Conversations, where we discuss all things related to policing, the criminal justice system in general, and how you can be your own first responder. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to an incident in California where a convenience store owner defended himself against an attempted robbery. If you haven't seen this video, you're definitely going to want to stick around and see this one. Give your thoughts in the comments below as the video proceeds.
A robbery suspect shot and wounded when an employee at a Norco market didn't hesitate to protect his business from a would-be crook.
That robbery now under investigation.
Let's go live to Gina Silva in Norco with the latest, and the age here is interesting as well. Gina.
That's right, Alex. Christine, I can tell you that almost everyone in this town is very proud of the way this business owner handled himself. There were 4 armed robbers, and they were parked right here. By the time they went inside, they got the surprise of their lives. It's a shooting the bad guys never saw coming. An 80-year-old man defends his business after armed robbers storm into Norco Market and Liquor.
Which is another reason why self-defense, the right to bear arms, is so important. What would an 80-year-old man be able to do if he wasn't armed against a group or against a person entering his business with a high-powered rifle himself? Physically, he would be very limited. By the time he calls the police, it would take them a while before they arrive, most likely, because police typically don't get there until after the crime has taken place. They usually don't get there in time to prevent. And I'm speaking as a former police officer. So why would anyone, any reasonable person, want to hinder an individual's ability to be able to protect themselves or protect a loved one or protect their property? It just doesn't make any sense when you really think through these incidents.
I guess he gets what he deserves, so peace is done.
Customers of this longtime Norco business have a lot to say about this armed robbery that ends with the good guy winning the battle.
The criminals are in control of everything right now, and the fact that they turned around and showed them what for, I think it's amazing.
Everybody's brazen and thinks that they are owed everything and that they could do whatever they want.
The average citizen understands how bad things are right now, and they realize that situations like this, things like this are happening all over the country. They're popping up left and right, and most people are left helpless. And it's good to see someone justly defend themselves.
It's not right to do that to people.
The shooting happened on Sunday at 2:47 a.m. in the 800 block of 6th Street. The owner was standing right here watching all of the action on the security camera. As soon as he saw one of those guys pull the mask over his face, he knew trouble was headed his way.
Situational awareness. Situational awareness was key. He had what seems to be a good security setup. He saw the potential threat and he prepared himself.
He just prepared himself. He prepared himself and he stood right here and he
Exactly.
just aimed. He aimed and shot.
The owner shot his rifle and hit the robber in the arm. Not a surprise to some.
Let me back that up a little bit, because he didn't have an opportunity for too much cover. To some degree, cover is when you're actually defended against the potential threat, when there's a physical barrier that protects you from the threat. Concealment is when you can't really be seen. And if you look at the video here, and you'll see where he positioned himself, he was more concealed than covered. He had some cover from probably his waist down, but I think when the suspect came in, he had trouble locating the store owner.
Just aimed. He aimed and shot.
The owner shot his rifle
Well done.
and hit the robber in the arm. Not a surprise to some customers.
You know, I'm not for gun violence, but he wasn't the one doing the violence. The people that came in were the ones doing the violence. And that's what we need to understand in our society. When people are doing violence against us, we have the right to protect ourselves.
I've seen him a couple of times while I've been here, and honestly, I can kind of expect that from him. He seems like a pretty bad old man.
No doubt.
I can tell you there were a lot of people coming in just to support the business and say they're very proud of the way he acted. But of course, a shooting, of this caliber is very stressful, traumatic. The business owner, who is 80 years old, did have a heart attack right after the shooting. But the good news is that I spoke with him this afternoon. He's doing better, and he will be out of the hospital tonight. And Alex, Christine, he is promising to do an interview with us once he settles in, and perhaps on Wednesday he'll talk to us about this traumatic experience and why he did what he did. Now, as for the 4 suspects, they have been arrested. 3 have been arrested. The 4th one, the guy who got shot, is still in the hospital, but once he's released, he will be going to jail.
I don't like to laugh at anybody's pain and suffering, but it's nice to see justice being served. And once again, that old man being able to protect himself. They opened the door by playing stupid games to receiving a stupid prize, and that's getting shot in the arm. I'm glad that no one ended up dying. Hopefully, these young men will be able to turn their lives around, get their crap together, because they definitely need it.
Community is just absolutely in such support of this gentleman here. Craig Cope, thank you so much for joining us. Now, we'll start right away because we don't have a lot of time, but when this happened to you on Sunday and you saw them coming in that door with that weapon that appeared to be an AR-15, what were your thoughts?
There wasn't much time to think about it. It was just the guy pointed the gun directly at me. Then it's him or me.
Here's another example of what happens when you prepare yourself and you rehearse. Mental rehearsal can go a long way. I often recommend aspiring officers, average everyday citizens, to rehearse potential scenarios, possible scenarios of when you may have to use force, so that when or if that incident ever does take place, you've already went over certain situations in your head, so you'd be better prepared. You'd be better able to respond appropriately. Him or me?
You acted right away. Frankly, if it had been me, I'd probably be dead. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd freeze, but you knew.
And yeah, I am not going to give him the chance. I mean, if I recognize the weapon, that's a semi-automatic gun, fast you can pull the trigger, maybe someone convert it to automatic, it's equivalent of a machine gun. I'm not going to let him get the first shot off at that point.
The reaction, not just here in Norco, but in Southern California, has been incredible. People and business owners who say, we are so tired of this crime wave. We are so glad that you defended your business.
Let me just say this. Someone enters your home, enters your store. Now, once again, it all depends on what the laws are in your city, state, town, jurisdiction, because you may be blessed to live in a community that has strong stand your ground laws. Someone enters your business, enters your home with a gun up and ready. It sounds pretty reasonable to me that they have ill intention. And here he said he wasn't going to give them the opportunity to harm him, basically, as I paraphrase what he said.
Well, I don't know that I did anything that somebody else wouldn't have done, but 2 things. We need more people to stand up, but more than that, probably get on the wrong side of some people here, but the politicians, there's people out there that are not the best of people. There's people that choose to be burglars. There's people that choose to be armed robbers. And I had one guy one time, he told me specifically he was a burglar. I mean, I had him in handcuffs. He was going to jail, and he's talking to me. He's a burglar. He says, that's what I do. He says, I wait till it gets dark, and I go burglarize places. So these people that can continually get let out now, it's been really bad the last year. Those people, the majority of them, are going to go right back to what they used to do. So the crime rate is escalating. It's going to continue to escalate until they start putting the people away that are doing the bad things.
Man, he is spitting knowledge right there. And some of these folks out there who have these bleeding hearts and just think everybody is a victim of the system, that's nonsense. I'm not saying that there aren't any people out there who've been victimized by the system, but there's a high percentage of people out there who know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they still choose to do so. And we need to be able to understand who they are, find out who they are, and treat them accordingly, and stop constantly letting them out so that they can harm the good people.
And as far as here and my place, it wouldn't have done any good to call the local sheriffs. They can't get here that quick.
Yep.
This whole thing, from the time I saw them coming around the side of the building to coming in the door, and what happened, 10 seconds. The actual thing from when he pointed his gun at me, half, 3/4 of a second, because I'm not waiting. When you point that gun directly at me and you're that close to me and I see what you're carrying, I'm not waiting.
Now, you
Man, I'm loving this man. I'm loving this old dude. Good on you, Pops. He responded. He saw the threat. He responded.
saw them in the parking lot, and the first tip-off was when he put his mask over his face.
First tip-off, I saw him through the front door drive into this parking lot. But they didn't park where a normal person would park. So that was a red flag. Then
Totality of circumstances. He saw them park in an unusual position, unusual parking location. They were parked in a way, most likely, where they were able to get away quickly.
they parked on the side of the building where they're basically out of sight. That was the second red flag. When I looked and saw them getting out of the vehicle, they got gloves, masks, a weapon. That just solidified the deal for me. I knew.
Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. Where they parked, trying to park out of sight, what they were wearing when they left the vehicle. Be prepared to put this information together quickly and respond quickly.
What was coming.
You know, right after the shooting, you got sick. You had a heart attack. How are you doing?
As far as I know, I'm doing better. I'm doing a lot better than I was that night.
What's traumatic?
Yeah, I don't know what caused it.
Now he's 80, and I get it as we get older. But I'm also of the mindset that just because we get older doesn't necessarily mean we should allow ourselves. And I'm not saying this is what he did, because I don't know. But just for those of us who, just for the average everyday person, we should do whatever we can, everything in our power, to make sure that we don't just totally fall off the deep end as we get older. We can watch what we eat. If we're physically able to, and barring any major medical issues, we can work on our physical conditioning, work on our strength, work on our ability to use and manipulate a weapon if necessary.
Your message to the bad guys?
This isn't a good place to pick.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's right. This isn't a good place to pick.
Was he in the military? Does he have much experience with shooting? Where, how is he such a good shot?
Alex is asking, how are you such a good shot? Were you in the military? Do you have experience?
When I was a kid, when I was 10, I had a gun, and I grew up in Illinois. We had a lot of small game, squirrels, rabbits, quail. I put a lot of food on the table on a regular basis, and I had a single shot, so ammunition was expensive when I had to buy it myself. 50 cents was a lot of money, and you don't want to miss. You get a single shot, don't miss.
Yeah.
So it still holds true.
Well done on this gentleman here for defending his. I wish him many more years, and I think there are a lot of lessons that we all can learn from this incident. And I'm glad that things didn't end up worse for him. But I'd love to know what y'all think, so comment down below. Before you roll, make sure you check out the video right here. I think you'll find it very helpful.